The
Today
struggle
on
is
Nova
real,
Legends
right?
podcast, I have Madison girls coach Jimmy Mensah, whose Warhawks just won the Concorde District Championship with a huge 8-1 win over a tough Chantilly team. Coach, nice to meet you. Thanks for doing this.
Nice to meet you. My pleasure.
Yeah, well, great. Well, look, first of all, Mensah, a couple about the 2010 World Cup, I believe. There's a couple of Ghana players named with the last name Mensah. I think Jonathan Mensah and John Mensah. Are you Ghanaian?
I
Ghanaian?
am Ghanaian,
Ghanaian, yeah.
and I want to claim that I'm related to him, but I'm not.
Yeah. Is it a pretty common name in Ghana?
It's equivalent to Smith. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's like a lot of Ghanaians are Mensah. It usually used to be if you were the third born, you were a Mensah. So that's
Oh,
how it starts. Then it just became part of it.
oh, that's fascinating. Yeah, that
Yeah.
you probably were a little bit too young when that 2010 Ghana team was incredible. They beat the US, and that was a big deal here.
That's my dream every time. I usually wear half and halves.
Yeah, yeah. Well, a lot of Ghanaians, just like Liberia, there's a lot of Americans who live in Ghana. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like now they're doing a lot of like it's called the coming home
Mhm.
kind of thing. There's like the Cape Coast Castle. The Ghanaians are rebranded into welcoming Americans that want a different place to live. So then now it's one of their options to
Yeah.
kind of go there.
Come back
Just
to
take them back to the motherland if they want to call it.
Yeah, come back to West Africa. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me give folks your brief bio.
I lived in Leesburg,
Okay.
Loudoun County High School.
That's where I'm in Lansdowne right now.
Yo, there we go.
Oh,
Yeah, Leesburg, Loudoun County High School, class of 97.
uh, oh wow, you look much younger than that.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I just turned 45.
Oh my God, I thought you were much younger than that. So
I'll take it.
yeah, so how did you start playing soccer? When did you start playing soccer?
As a Ghanaian, it was my birthright. It was that or table tennis.
Oh, table tennis is big too. That's awesome.
Table tennis, soccer, checkers. That's about it. Those are my only three options.
Yeah. Who were your first role models in soccer?
Way back, Stephen Appiah,
Mhm.
Abedi Pele,
Yeah,
Ghanaian players. Most recently, still Stephen Appiah, but Michael Essien,
of course.
big guy for mine.
Yeah. Yeah, when my sister played soccer, I went to Robinson, and I was a big fan of the sport, but I didn't play a lot. I played basketball, and then in the '92 World Cup with Roger Miller, and
Oof,
that's been a lot of
that
especially Black Americans really started following soccer. I mean, all the
he's
blacks
an
who were
African
from.
legend.
Oh my God, he was just amazing. He'd come in the second half. He was, I guess, 39 years old, and I think he led the World Cup in scoring one of the World Cups. He was just amazing.
Yeah, I don't know the stats, but he was one of I think that was my last World Cup when I was in Ghana, and he did us all proud. Like all Africa just rooted around Roger Milla and just watched the move, his dance celebrations afterwards. It's
Oh,
incredible.
so even though he's from the Cameroon, you guys would still support them. It's not a rivalry. It was all
No,
together.
it's a rivalry when we play each other, but when the continent is against anybody else, we all bond.
Even Nigeria.
Oh, we support Nigeria if it's
Yeah,
against if it's against anyone that's not in Africa. It's a family what is it, rivalry.
yeah. I know Nigeria is like the 100-pound gorilla. I mean, especially in West Africa. Nigeria is tough. So, well, look, so when did you get into coaching? And who were your
So
first?
yeah,
Yeah.
coaching, I've without realizing it, I had always done it. Throughout high school, I was doing camps. I did it throughout doing camps throughout. I did it at Mason when I was there. I have always coached. I've always worked with kids. That's always been my thing. I did coached in Ashburn when they were first started. Um, I would even go back way to when Daryl, I don't know if you know who Daryl G is, but way back when he was doing
Yeah.
soccer camps in Reston area when I started, that was part of the back then all you had to do was just have played somewhere and you could get it put into coaching back in the day. So I've been around it. It's never official, but I've always been around working, playing the game and just playing and working with kids.
Yeah. When did you begin to develop a soccer philosophy, a coaching philosophy?
Um, I'm a big fan. I watch the game. That's my Saturday and Sunday. That's my free time. I'm not a golfer or anything like that. So I just know what I like to see. I don't want to completely say I am more of a everybody likes the Dutch style, right? But you have to have the Dutch players to do to do that. So, and that makes it a little bit of Dutch, a little bit of African, a little bit of whatever you can to just put an attractive brand out there.
Yeah. Do you find yourself? I assume you coach club soccer as
No,
well as
actually,
professional?
I don't. I
Oh,
used to, but I don't anymore. Madison is my main thing. I was part of Ashburn. Then I became a referee.
oh,
Then I just never went back. Once my kids got a little bit after COVID, I just put soccer away. But prior to that, I worked with Ashburn Soccer Club. I had worked with other clubs before then. Samson Soccer Club. I don't know if you don't know. So there was a lot of different people that I worked with. But I've been out of club for about more than 10 years.
wow. And so my son played at Yorktown, and we thought I had heard that high school soccer was kickball, and he was a very much a finesse player. I think the Dutch would like him a little bit, and so we didn't think high school would be for him. So when he ended up playing high school, it was the best experience by far he ever had. The excitement, playing in front of your classmates, the loudspeaker. You know, his team got to the state final. It was unbelievable how exciting high school soccer was compared to club. Club was the same thing for 10 years, and then late in his club career, he would play teams in New Jersey. He wouldn't even know you wouldn't even know the kids. You spend all weekend, you would travel. But in your words, how would you compare high school soccer to club soccer?
It's very, I think if you love the game, you love the game, but I think the coaches' approaches are a lot different. I equate club to more of if it club is like the main team, right? Like if I'm a Chelsea guy, so if you play
Oh.
club, that's like Chelsea. But so I just saw your face shaking. But if you play club, it's your main priority, right? But then high school is more of the national team kind of. You don't get to pick your players, right? The players come to you and you kind of have to build a team in that regard. So
Yeah.
clubs, they can recruit, they can try out, they can do the things. They have more of a wider range. They can go for specific players,
Yeah.
right? Hey, we don't need a winger. We need a fullback tryout. They can do that. For high school, you have one tryout and you have whatever you get, you have to try to build a team for that.
Yeah. And therefore, you have to be more practical in high school than you would in club. Club, if you
Yeah.
like to play a certain way, you could maybe wait for those types of players. But in high school, you have to play. You have to play the hand you're dealt.
Yeah, well, kind of. Well, at Madison, it's a little bit different. We are lucky enough that I think we owe the club teams a lot, because I'm not one of those coaches that think, hey, high school is the golden. It's not. I don't think that. I think we owe the parents put a lot of investment into the club teams, and we just so happen to at the high school level, at the coaches, we are lucky that you have to have a good number of players within your range, and you can it's luck, right? Because you don't know who lives around your area. So I respect the club team for all. I'm not one of those coaches that think high school or a bus. No, without the club coaches, high school teams can't do much. They put in all the work. By the time they get to ninth grade, we're lucky enough to kind of jump on that bandwagon and try to build a team off of that. So I'm fully aware that high school doesn't make the players. It can enhance their experience, right? It can build their experience, but I give full credit to the travel coach that they do all the work.
Would you allow the coaches to lobby you if coaches call you up and say, look, this player is good. Maybe you should give her another look, or this player shouldn't be playing that position. What is your relationship with their club coaches?
This is my first year as a varsity coach. I think right now I joke to my players that I'm going to send their coaches a thank you cards, and they think, oh, they will never take that. I'm like, I'm not that ego that I think I made you. Before you got here, I didn't know you till this year. And I'm not naive enough to think my 2 weeks of coaching you has given you those skills. That can't be it. Somebody has put in the work. Somebody has done all the things to make you where you are. So I kid around us before I leave Madison, I want to offer an olive branch to those coaches because historically it's been kind of a divide.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be like that. I take that into consideration when we're training. Hey, do you have practice today? What are your game schedule like today? Let's kind of branch because essentially you're only one person, right? You have one body. The same body goes through high school, the same body goes through um, club. So you kind of have to, while the club coaches might not like it, I fully appreciate it. I'm offering, hey, thank you for coaching these kids up. But at the same token, kind of like we said, they can't tell me what position the kids play. I ask the kids. I build a team based on people that can play multiple positions. If you ask the kids, they all play wingers, right? Thank you, Cristiano Ronaldo. Everybody's a winger.
Yeah.
So you can build teams off of wingers. So you just have to be. I have one player that is a striker by all. You don't look at this girl and say, hey, she can play any other position. For me, she's played the 6, she's played an 8, she's played a 10. I've asked her what size gloves does she wear so she can play goalie if we need it. And she does it. And she's excelling at that. So it's more of just knowing the positions solving problems with you, if you can help me.
Yeah. Well, I think you're downplaying a little bit the effect of the high school coach. To me, it's a different type of coaching. It's almost like it's game coaching is more important. The inspiration, the preparation, maybe the game film. You may not even be able to know anything about a team you're going to play in club.
Oh, we do it. We do it now.
Yeah. Oh, you do it now, but you may not have a chance. You might be at a showcase or something where you don't have a chance to even know you're going to play. But to me, like for example, my son showed up at Yorktown, and he had never played at Arlington Travel. He always played at Alexandria. Coach didn't know who he was. From the minute he saw him, he had him in the midfield. He knew right away. And he had this kid. I remember this kid was a freshman. He had him playing right back. He could see where kids belong. He just had a mind for it. So to me it's a different type of coaching. It's almost like game coaching. So I do think it's very important, but I just think it's very different than what a club coach is.
I didn't mean to downplay it. Yes, it is very practical. Like I have one player who has played winger her whole life. And then she's like, so I looked at her, I'm like, your skill set, why winger? She's like, oh yeah, but I play center mid at my club team, but at high school I play winger. I'm like, what's the difference? She's like, well, there's just more space. And I'm like, well, if we need you, you're gonna go there. So I do kind of have those conversations with them. Just I think understanding the game and what needs to be done kind of helps along. When I try to explain that that's one of the things I told my players when we got. I was like, this is where you might be. But right now I am picking 24, and people thought I was crazy. I picked 24 players. Mm-hmm. And that is like insane. I'm like, but at any given point, you can still help me solve a problem. I told my players, hey, in these scenarios, this is who I'm going to call upon. In this scenario, this is who you. So they kind of understand that. They know at any given, I would say our last game, we started off with the same number of formation that we're starting with. I saw things weren't working. And the same personnel were on the field, and they all just switched up positions, and that's kind of what kind of balanced it. We played around with it a little bit into people, because the same players can play differently, right, in the different positions. So we just did that. We moved things around, and that kind of till we found something that worked for us, and we just went along with that at the Chantilly game anyway.
It's really fun to kind of try to solve those problems or those challenges. How about coaching girls? Have you found it much different than coaching boys, or is to you soccer?
Oh yeah, soccer is soccer. I try, but the philosophy is different. The competitiveness is different, and that I don't think I think that's just historically that's what people have accepted, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, you don't slide tackle, and I see even referees do that a little bit. In our last game, it's like, hey, you're not supposed to do that. No, you're like, it's a game. You have to have the same competitive spirit. You have to have the same mentality. Though I think it's perceived differently, but it shouldn't have to be different. Like the technical skills, like my girls, we practice by the boys now, and I see the boys just winging it up like 50 yards or so. I'm like, that's part of the game. But my girls don't do that. They, instead of just booting it up, they would rather do 3 or 4 touches. I personally think they're more technically savvy than the boys, but the boys are also more physical. And I think the physical part is actually coming in the game a little bit more now.
Yeah. I also think the girls dive less, which I appreciate. Can you coach them up in the same way, and that can you talk to them in the same way you can talk to boys? If a coach gets upset at a player, may yell at a player in a certain way, can those conversations be the same whether it's female or male player?
My approach wouldn't be different because I don't typically yell.
Yeah, I don't see you yelling. Yeah.
That's actually where my some of my players, I had to kind of prove myself a little bit in the beginning, because I'm not a screamer, I'm not a yeller on the sidelines. I'm more of an encourager. So that's kind of still, I'm trying to prove to my girls that way can work. They're actually used to people yelling and screaming and doing that. I'm like, I can't do that. I would rather do that, like, I call them my morning chats or sideways chat. I just pull them to the side and just give them feedback through there. In games, I'm usually more of, hey, this is what I like what you did. I like the idea versus I give feedback differently. I don't necessarily, I'm not a yeller. In fact, that's one of the things that's going down poorly with my kids right now. It's like, you're not screaming. I'm like, that's not my style. I don't want to be that angry guy on the sideline. It doesn't work for me.
Yeah. Well, you said this was your first year coaching varsity at Madison?
Yes.
So, Madison, if you ever walk into that gym or see the banners, they win everything. It's, what is it like to coach at Madison? Is it intimidating that the school has so much success, or do you find that success gives you momentum to do what you want to do?
Oh man. So here's the thing. I knew they were a winning team, but I wasn't a big sports guy at Madison. Because I live outside of Madison. So I wasn't a big sports guy till I got in. And I'm like, oh wow, this is what it's like. You see the banners, but I was kind of a disconnected from it, right? It's like then I got into coaching last year, the JV team. And then I saw, oh, this is what it's like. Then this year when I came in, I was like, oh, this is what it's really like. So to even our record, right? You would think, hey, you're doing great record wise. But I'm like, no, this is what's expected at Madison. Like you can't have a mediocre season. Like
No.
you can win, fine, but that's what it's like. Nobody's going to come and pat you on the back. Oh wow, good win. It's like, I mean, they do, but we all know at the end of the day, it's not an external pressure. It's just within the best expectation. It's the standard.
Yeah.
You can't be happy with so and so. You can't be like there's no pressure, but there's pressure. It's the pressure is not by a person, it's just what the kids expect. And that's what they're used to.
Yeah. The sports tradition in Madison is just overwhelming how great they are. I'm good friends with Kirsten Stone, the coach, women's basketball coach, girls basketball coach, and also used to coach with Kevin Roller when I coached basketball as well. And and I just interviewed the baseball coach, and and I interviewed the football coach last year. Why am I? What's that? Oh, Justin Counts. He's a fellow UVA guy, and it's just amazing, and how the community supports the programs. It's really amazing. Now, Coach, I understand the season's gone very well for you guys. I know you lost to Oakton. I believe going into the Oakton game, you guys were undefeated. Is that right, Coach? You tied a game?
No, we lost our second game against Marshall. And that was like more of a reality check for me. I'm like, all right, because we went from preseason to the season with so I picked 24 kids. I was trying to, but Marshall beat us. Then prior to that, our second loss was against Oakton. But
okay, which is the game I was at. So I understand you had a serious injury to one of your strikers. Is that Hannah that got hurt?
Hannah Harms, yeah.
So Hannah she trained with my son at Joga. She's been a phenom ever since she was like 4 or 5 years old. Just an amazing player. Is Hannah out for the season?
I think so. I mean, it's not official. She's still going through PT, but she sustained a serious injury through Chantilly. So that she's still going through the rehab. I guess we have her shots are coming back. It depends on how long our season goes. But as we sit right now, she sustained a very serious high ankle injury, and she's still going through the process of healing back.
Yeah. Well, the fact that it's even being discussed means the injury might not be as serious as first thought. You have a winger that just floats up the sidelines. His name is Daphne Vanderweide.
Yes, Vanderweide, yeah.
Vanderweide, and she just floats down the sidelines. A tremendous player. You have I think you have 6 first-team all-districts: Stella Steiner, Hannah, Lillian Perkins, Kyra Hartogs, and Aaron Lockhart, your goalie, I believe, right?
Yes.
Just 6 first-team all-districts is amazing. So tell us a little bit about those players.
So that's actually the district player thing is kind of, and this could get me in trouble. I don't know when this is going to come out. But in my opinion, all my players are first district. Okay. That's not, I mean, I am lucky. Like, honestly, that's also why I have 24 kids, right? But I think those players are great. Most of them were on the bench also last year, though. So I think it was just like the tradition that Devin built. Daphne is new. but the other players were there last year.
Mm. Where was Daphne? Where was Daphne last year?
Daphne was a freshman. She's a freshman.
She's a freshman.
She's a freshman. Let's not let the secret out. She's a
Whew.
freshman.
Oh, she is something else.
So,
Her moves is she's very deceptive because it doesn't even look like she's up to anything. And next thing she knows, she'll do like a double touch and she's by. I'm just like,
yeah, she's a
whoa.
pleasure to watch. Her and Sydney. I have to mention Sydney. They are a dynamic duo that you can't fall asleep on. But they and the story about Daphne, I almost cut her. That's how much I know.
You mean JV? You mean JV?
No, I almost cut her to put her on JV this
Right,
year.
right.
I'm like, what? Because it was just like we're doing small side. I was like, she's not showing me anything. I'm like, I'll give you a chance, but I mean, your playing time is not guaranteed. It's
Yeah.
like, then shoo.
Well, she would have got moved up the varsity after a couple games. I can assure you that, Coach.
Fair, and I'm glad I didn't make that mistake anyway, because I think I
Well,
would have been gone with her.
I don't think it would have been a mistake because I think again, like I know at Yorktown, they got kids go up and down JV varsity. You know, you can move them up and down if they earn it. So the Oakton game that I came when I met you, that was a big rivalry, which is why I was there. The teams have long history together. They're in the same district. Great game. It was a pretty physical game, I thought.
Yeah.
You know, they got the goals. I thought you guys missed some opportunities where you guys could have definitely scored. What did you think about that game?
Whew, I got to measure my work. I'll say the same thing. Like, I honestly, I think on our day, like I said before, I have the best team because I get the luxury of practicing with them every day. So I'm not gonna like even with the all district thing, I might get me in trouble, but I think I have the best 24 kids. And I think from when you asked for a picture, I said, no, it's a team thing. I have the best 24 players that any school can have the luxury of having.
Yeah.
On our day, I can only mess it up. But on our day, I have 24 players deep. I don't think any school can boast that amount of good players.
Yeah.
So when you have the selection, that's a selection headache, and that was something I was willing to have in the beginning of the year when they're all healthy. On a typical day, I have, Coach, what about that playing time? I have those conversations daily, but that was a problem I embraced in the beginning of the year. I'm like, yes, I'm going to keep 24 players, knowing that these conversations will come up. I also work in the building, so I see kids, they follow me to ask those kind of questions. I'm like,
Yeah.
I was willing to have those conversations. Right now, this is a conversation I have daily.
Yeah.
After practice, players are coming up to me, hey, Coach, I saw that I only played 5 minutes. The previous game, I played 35. What's the problem? And I have to have those conversations. So we're a deep team. Even at the Chantilly game, I made every possible sub, and I still had one player left. I hadn't gone in yet.
Yeah.
So it's a good problem to have.
I've seen more teams keep big rosters because of the injuries, the AP tests, the showcases. You know, some people are on the boys' side are sneaking in MLS next players in the postseason. So you are seeing bigger rosters now because I mean the talent around the area is pretty intense. Now, Coach, I know you mentioned in the Chantilly game you're able to move some kids around and you found some advantage. Were you surprised that Chantilly's had a really good year, some really nice wins? I believe they tied you or they lost narrowly.
They tied us 2-2. 2-2 the first game.
Were you surprised you beat them 8-1, especially without Hannah?
Whew. To be honest, the big score line was surprising, but I keep going back. And again, I don't want to get my seem overconfident. I think I have a pretty good team. You can't beat teams without the quality of players that I have. Yeah. Right. This could get me in trouble, but I think my players are that good. To be honest, I can only mess it up. They are they are hard workers. They are diligent. They want to win. Going into the Chantilly game, only thing I told them is I just need to win. We just need to win by 1.
Yeah.
We just need, and that's the same mentality for every game going.
They never listen to you, Coach. They don't listen to you. You need to win by 1.
We just have to win by 1. That's it.
Yeah. So going forward, so I think the regional start tomorrow, right, Coach?
Mm-hmm.
And you guys play the 4th seed in the Liberty, and the 4th seed in the Liberty is
McLean.
Oh, McLean. Okay, who I've seen this year. And so, what do you think are some of the keys for you guys to advance deep into the tournament?
But we played McLean once. We we have to respect every opponent,
Of course.
right? Because especially if they've seen you once, you have to respect. You have to be humble but arrogant, right? These kids have put in the work. This is not their first year playing soccer. They've been in every situation before. Like they've now with the progression of soccer through the club levels, they've played in showcase games, and that's for every team.
Yeah.
They've played in showcase games. They've played in invitationals. They've played in all kinds of games. It is just a matter of, do you respect your opponent, and are you going to show up? And that's one thing the kids are kind of probably tired of me hearing it or saying it. You have to respect your opponent, and you can't go by what's been done previously because our district has changed, right? You can't go by, oh, we used to beat so and so by 10 goals. No, now every team has their Daphnes or the Sydneys. Every team has players that are changing games. I would say most teams regret scheduling Westfield for their senior night, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because they have Gabby, who is like, that girl strikes fear in my heart. To be honest. So
had a good year.
So the teams are not the same. It's a matter of, yes, you have the technical ability, but it's almost, do you want it? Chantilly, I think for the first 10 minutes, wanted it more than we did. We had to come up with solutions, kind of foil it, but it's just respecting your opponents and knowing that, hey, we can sustain what they have, and just also trusting in your preparation. We've put in a lot of different preparations for this season. I think the regional play helped us kind of get together the systems that work for us, get to know what works and what doesn't work, what players do, what their strengths and weaknesses are. So we kind of use that in there, but just trust the preparation and respect your opponent.
Yeah. Well, this is a good time of year to have strong captains. And who are your captains? Because we talked about some of your top players, but who are your captains?
I have Sia Matra Georges, Kira Hartogs, Aaron Lockhart, and Kira McCloskey.
Okay, right.
Two seniors, two juniors.
Oh, great! So you have some leadership coming back next year as well.
I hope.
Yeah. Well, Coach, this has been great. I really enjoyed talking to you. I can't believe you're in your 40s. I thought you were like a really young coach. I'm not calling you old, Coach. But,
I'm okay with it. The grays is a little bit sneaky.
Yeah, I got the grays too. But yeah,
young.
Yeah, people who haven't seen your team play should go watch. They're a lot of fun to watch. I can imagine if you see Oakton again, that's going to be another incredible game because you can tell the players are very familiar with each other. Yeah. They play club together. Some of the players.
A few of them play club together. A few of them play club. A few of them, they know each other. They're actually, the funny thing, Oakton was at our game for Chantilly, and you could hear some of the chirpings going in the background. It's a fun ride. We all live 2-3 miles from each other. Yeah. So it's not bad.
They had to be very intimidated by the fact you beat them 8-1 after they had just beaten them, and then you guys put them down. So it must be a pretty intimidating scoreline.
But when they scored one, that was a little bit, we had to calm down. We had to just trust the process that we didn't get here. Like we knew going in that they average about 2 goals a game, but we also average around 4. So we had to just bring that reality that, hey, this happens. We let in goals, but we also concede goals. We also put in goals. So we were like, yeah, they probably have 2 or 3 in them, but we trust that we have 4 in us on any given day. So.
Well, last question, Coach, and this is your first year of varsity. Are win or lose, win the state championship or whenever, are you going to be sad when the season is over?
Yes. It's been an incredible ride. Just highs and lows. I just like again at Madison, it's great to be part of these girls. Especially with the seniors. But it's we're not looking forward to that yet. I think we have. In my head, we still have 4 games left, but tomorrow is the most important, right? So our season could also end tomorrow. That's very realistic. Yeah. So we're very aware of that if we don't show up and respect our opponents, tomorrow could be our last day together. We're hoping we can go till the end, but we are very aware of how short or how long it could be.
What has this team taught you about coaching?
More about leadership. You have to be humble. You have to be, it's never about me. And that's the approach, I guess, being away from the game for so long. I came because I liked the game. So I didn't come in with the intent of being like a dictator to the team. That's what's also kind of catching them off guard. I asked for their input. So no, they kind of get surprised. Hey, this is what I'm thinking. What's your take on it? And they're like, "You're the one getting the big bucks."
So,
So that catches them off. But I think that I've noticed that works, right? Just getting their input and just having clear communication with the players. When a player is not playing, let them know why they're not playing.
yeah.
And also letting them know that, hey, you could go in for 2 minutes just to give me a chance to look at something else. So just being vulnerable to the team. I don't think that's something they're used to a coach soliciting their input or just being that vulnerable or just saying, hey, I need help here. Can you help me problem solve? That's not, and I've noticed, I know that it works, right? I mean, at first it looks kind of silly. You're asking a bunch of teenagers what they think about a formation, and you can't get into personal businesses with the players. They can give them feedback, and I can choose to use it or not use it, but they're a part of the solution. I call them, we're always going to look for solutions. At first, the first few games, I was strictly looking for them to put solutions, but I knew that wasn't in their style. So I had to come back, give them solutions and say, hey, how can we build off of this a little bit more? Do reflect, do better. It's a kind of my motto that I'm trying to teach them.
Yeah. Well, Coach, you have a great way on the sidelines. I really enjoyed watching you coach. Everyone I've ever met from Ghana, they say they're some of the kindest and most polite people in the world. So maybe that's infused in your coaching style, the land of your family.
We try to be. I mean, I think every one of those kids came to play soccer, not for some glory, because they like it, because they get enough playing time on their travel teams for us. So at the high school level, I mean, they have to have fun, but also you can't have fun and not win, right? Because that turns sour real quick. But that's my approach. I don't want to be the reason why anybody doesn't want to play the game.
Yeah. Well, Coach, I wish you the best of luck in the postseason. Next time, I'm sure I'll see you at the sidelines. I'll give you more time, and I'll make sure we get all 24 in the picture somehow. So I understand your dilemma. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Coach. Well, look,
it.
thanks for taking time. Good talking to you, and I will see you soon.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Okay, buddy. Nice talking to you.